Hey guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome once again to another episode of Mothers Unfiltered. And we're going to be talking about Black representation in the film industry. I want to thank you so much ahead of time. I always tell my guests ahead of time, thank you for coming and taking a time out of your busy schedule to talk with us. I will introduce you guys, but first I have to give the spotlight over to my cousin, Ty. So
Troy, I mean Jamel, don't. Really quick, Kia did launch the Facebook group page for Mothers Unfiltered. So if you didn't get the invite, please make your way over there. If you are on Facebook, and we will accept you. If you haven't made it over to YouTube, go to YouTube, subscribe, like, share, comment, and we love you guys.
All right. Well, just jumping into things. First, I want to say we are missing one guest. He may pop in, he may not pop in, and which is Charles Haskins, who's also my brother. I know he's been on other episodes of mine, but he is multi-talented. He's actually on a set right now in production. I don't want to spill the beans as of what he's doing. I want him to, say that himself. But if he does, that will be a pleasure and an awesome experience. Somebody gave a shout out to you guys' jerseys before I introduce you to.
Oh boy.
Let's go. King James, baby. King James.
So I want to first introduce one of my guests here, which is Troy. So Troy D. Williams is an actor, producer, born and raised in Bradenton, Florida, and graduate of the University of Central Florida and former semi-pro football player. For what team was that? What team were you?
I played for the Orlando Rage 2 seasons. Yeah.
All right, great. Troy made his acting debut in a 2015 short film, Deserving Mercy. Williams landed his first lead role in a feature film, Watchmen Edit, 2012, and also won Best Actor in 2019 at the Southeast Regional Film Festival. In 2020, Troy launched his production company, Thoroughbred Films, LLC, and began producing content. He recently started his own talk show called Limelight Conversations, where he does exclusive interviews with some of the who's who in various industries, which I actually got to see. It's really good. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
And I actually know him. I work in another area, but very excited about that. And moving right along to Jamil. I call him my twin because we're born on the same day. Woo-hoo, Gemini.
That's right.
Winston, 47-year-old, so 47 years young, military veteran of the Marine Corps. I know they say once you're Marine, always Marine. So that's awesome. Thank you for your service, who is SAG eligible and working on a number of projects coming out soon. He started his acting career a couple of years ago and has numerous major commercial and movies in such a short time, making a name for himself in the industry, which I'm so happy. I remember I seen you in Bad Boys, the recent one. There he goes right there. People are looking at me like rushing, like please.
But no. Wait, isn't it weird though? Like when you know people and you're watching a movie and you see them and it's like,
on the big screen, definitely. And just to put it out, I always say, I don't know how you guys feel about Orlando being a small town or a big town. I remember looking, it was an advertisement in the Regal, and I'm looking like, wait, that's Troy. Wait, he actually is in the movie theater. I'm like, what? So it's definitely an honor to be around you guys. You guys are also definitely educated Black men. So thank you for taking this opportunity to enlighten us. So just jumping right in there, I want to talk about a little about our representation. And I want to start off by saying, who should tell our stories? Just a blatant question. Anybody can grab it, but who do you think should tell our stories that affect us and our community? Anybody, anyone can pick it.
So I guess when you say who should tell the story, you mean like who's writing it, who's directing it? Yeah. You mean who's directing it?
Writing or directing, yes. Mm-hmm.
So I guess I would say us first and foremost, or you'd have to have some type of influence of people who've lived it, who've experienced it to really get like that true feeling of it. You want to get that true representation in there. You want to have the heart in there. So I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a Black person that's directing it, but you have to have someone that's influencing it that has lived it. So if it's like you see something going this way, it's like, nah, it would be a little bit more like this. So you just need sometimes just minor tweaks here and there. But I mean, directing, as long as someone knows how to direct a film, I mean, I don't think it matters much,
But the written part, it definitely has to be somebody who's relatable, who understands our struggle and our story.
Absolutely.
I have a question on top of that. So who should tell our story, but now who is actually telling our story? Because there's a difference.
Jamil.
So in regards to that question you said there, we have a number of writers, and their writing is based off of their work what they've done in the past. And most production companies want to use the same people to write these different stories. When you talk about who should tell the story, sometimes it's not about the words that's written on the paper. And Troy can attest to that. It's more about the emotional feeling that we're feeling to be able to resonate. Like Troy had mentioned earlier, have you lived that experience? Because what we are doing is we are recreating an emotional state that someone else lived through. So our emotions are almost something that we shouldn't be touching on. And for me, acting is more therapeutic than it is just an art, because you can't talk from here. You have to talk from here, because when you're watching us on a screen, for us to be able to tell you that story, we have to feel something. And you also have to feel what we're feeling. That's what makes it real. So that story has to be told by the right person. Sometimes it's not about the color of the person telling the story. It's about that person being able to engulf themselves into that being of that person and tell that story. Right. And that's where that answer would lay, I would say.
And go ahead, Ty. I don't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead, because we're about to go at it.
And the reason why I asked that question is just to segue into this one. So let's just take the movie that came out. It came out in the end of last year in November. It was the Harriet Tubman story. Told that story. I wanted to know, a lot of people was in an uproar about it, and our own people, it didn't do as well as people thought it should. Because of course the story of her is, she's a legend, but within that, it's like, okay, you have a actress of non-African American descent. Why are we skipping past our African American female actresses? I'm not even just saying Halle Berry's and those, but there's some Viola Davis. There's so many African Americans here that we can say, oh, she'd be good for that role, instead of going outward. Because if you look at the new and upcoming actors and actresses, they're not African American. They're from other areas. They may have the same skin color, but they're not us. So a lot of people say, man, we're still getting shitted on, if you want to use that term. We're not getting picked for those roles to tell our story. Even that new movie that's coming out there, I'm always bad with the names, but it's about the Black Panthers, the one, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, but he's not from African American descent. So here we go once again. They're pulling everyone else except for you guys, or somebody else. Is there a reason why? Is it because the casting agents had this familiarity with other people, or?
Yes, that's a good question. I'll take it first, Troy, if you don't mind, sir.
Go ahead, man.
We have definitely seen that. There are casting directors that are out there, and they're trying to, and there's a lot of talent out there. And I don't say they don't look for the new talent, because they do. It's a matter of, even if they pick you, someone else is writing that check. So they may not like your look. And it's not about your ability most times. We don't want to be known and get to fame just to get the fame. We want to be known for our work and how we do our work. I don't want anybody to give me anything. As a Marine, that's what we don't want. I want to earn what I'm supposed to do. But we realize that even if you are selected, a casting director does select you, it has to now go to NBC or ABC. And if they don't like you, they're the ones writing the check. So it doesn't matter. So I'll leave it with that. And Troy, I'll let you go ahead and chime in, sir.
Yeah, I'll say with that, and obviously, I'm not to that level, like on movies of that scale and that magnitude, but I will say a lot of the actors, like the guy you're talking about, is Daniel, was it Daniel Luca,
Yeah.
or
Hmm.
yeah, from Get Out and Black Panther, and then also the other dude who's in that movie as well. His sidekick is the other guy who was in Get Out. He's the one who had the nosebleed, and
Yes.
so I'll say this. It kind of going back to what Jamil said in his last answer. It's not necessarily the person who's telling the story. It's how much they can connect to it and how much they can relate to it, because those dudes are like phenomenal actors. So what you're seeing is a lot of these actors are coming from like they're like British actors. They're
Yeah.
coming from like overseas or whatnot.
Yep.
So the one thing I can tell you, and just being here in the Florida market, I can tell you that the actors that come from over there, they train a lot more. They're more classically trained, So when I think with big production films like that, they want people who are going to come on set and already know what to do. They're not going to have to like kind of baby, like, spoon feed them all the way through.
Right.
So
bring the crowd out too. That's the money maker, the names.
Absolutely. But those guys are putting in work, and again, like, to me, I guess like as an African American actor, I look at that, but like those dudes, I look at it differently. Like those dudes make me work harder. They make me train more. Like on a night like this, where everybody's watching the game. After that game's over, I'm going to train. I'm going to pull out a monologue and I'm going to work on it. Because that's what those guys are doing. But they have like the way that they train over there. It's like someone getting a degree over here. They have like 3 and 4 year conservatories where they're in classes like 6 days a week. Like it's intensive. We don't really have that as much here. We have classes where, you can do like maybe a couple of days out of the week, but you can't compete with someone who's doing it for like 3 or 4 years straight, 6 days a week. That's their life. Yeah. So by the time they come over here, it's like those people are on a whole nother level. So I think we just got to step our game up,
What's the pay difference between?
I was going to ask that. I was about to go to the pay.
I know you right.
I was like,
I see it in your face. What's
pay difference between what?
African Americans and their counterparts? What would be the pay difference, or is it the same? I don't want to assume one or the other.
So the best way I can say you can kind of really compare that, where I've seen some inequalities on that, is when it comes to like TV shows. Like series are like the thing now. Big TV series on major networks. Like for instance, you had the show The Big Bang Theory.
Right.
Like they had like 3 characters on there who I believe were making like $1 million per episode. Then you had Empire, which was like for a time, it was like the #1 show on TV, on the station that it was on. People are calling me right now. But, Empire was the #1 show. What is okay?
Here
you guys hear me? I'm gonna get my life together.
Yeah, please, quickly.
So Empire at one point, Empire was the #1 show on TV, right? And then you had Terrence Howard and Taraji. I believe they were getting somewhere between 400 to 600,000 per episode, which is still balling. But to be the #1 show on TV, and then you still have some of these other shows where you have people who are getting $1 million per episode. So that's where I've seen the biggest disparity. Because sometimes with films, it's hard to see that information. It's not as public with certain films. Like like your top actors, what they make per movie, but you don't know what everybody else was making that was not the lead in that movie. Correct. So it's hard to say. So TV series are really where you can like see the like more public information on that.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned Taraji, because I know prior to the podcast starting, I was talking about how when she did Benjamin Button, she got paid a salary of $10,000, and she had to front her own hotel. And then she also had to pay for her own food, while everybody else, so of course, and we understand Brad Pitt is a great actor and those things, but he's making buku of millions. And it was kind of like, well, if
Troy.
Is Troy okay? Is Troy okay?
I thought he was going to be the problem.
No, I thought Troy fell.
I thought he was celebrating the game.
Okay. And that's what happens, people, when we're live. Anything can happen.
And I know you ain't turned it off either, because I've seen your eyes slide up there.
You must know.
Troy is gone, man down.
He's right here. He's right here.
There you go. He's coming back.
Facebook. We apologize. We only do the best that we can do.
But I'm glad I kept on to my train of thought. What I was just going to say was, you know, you have an individual, if she was complaining about her situation, saying, you know what? I know what I'm worth. I played in all these movies. I have this intensive resume. I want more, because like I said, she had to front her own hotel and food. The production company would have kicked her out so fast, and somebody else would have filled that spot who was like, hey, this is my breaking opportunity to make 10 G's and be working with Brad Pitt. So how do you guys, or what would you guys even do in that situation when you're kind of like, well, my self-respect, because you know your worth, but at the same time, it's like, well, this is an opportunity to be, you know, next to Brad Pitt. Because I mean, on one end, I see it both ends.
Well, I think that, you know, sometimes we do what we have to do, because in this industry, we realize that, you know, and it hurts other actors when we do that. But sometimes it's all about the relationship that you're creating. And most actors will work for free because we just love doing what we do. However, that's not going to put food on the table, if you would, right? So a lot of us continue to work, you know, different jobs, various jobs, until we can say, you know, hey, we've made it. We don't need to do that anymore. But the industry as a whole, you have people doing that, but sometimes these directors do see something in you, and then you get an opportunity. They take care of you on the back end because they're also trying to make it. Some of them are trying to make it as well. So some of them don't have the budget to do what it is to do, but you know that they're going to go somewhere. And we as actors, when we feel like there's someone that's going to do something magnificent and we just want to be a part of it, we'll do it. But does that help us in the long run? And does it help other actors in the long run? No, it doesn't. But we all have a different road that we're traveling in this industry, and how we get there is based off of what we do and how we do it. Because you can be a person just there as an extra, and next thing you know, you get bumped up because of just how you are as a person. So we never take an opportunity to say, oh, I'm not willing to do that. Because the things that people are unwilling to do, I'm willing to do. Because you just never know, that's going to land you a different break.
Do you guys see that you get cast in like the same type of roles?
Like typecast,
yeah.
I would say sometimes yes, but not necessarily. It's just certain things that you feel comfortable working in. My whole goal is to be in the comedy. That's my whole goal. But I work on the things that I'm not really good at to have range, like Troy does. Troy has a lot of range, and he can do a myriad of different roles because he works on it. And those are the things as an actor you want to be uncomfortable so you can actually grow as an actor. Because when you get typecast, that's all you're going to be able to work as.
Right.
And you don't want that. You want to be known for your range and be able to do something great and beyond. Or yeah, you can do comedy, or yeah, you can do, you know, mystery or whatever it is. Be that person that can be the character. Bring that character to life. That's what we need to do.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that here in a second. Let me go back to the Taraji thing real quick. So with Taraji, Kia, I honestly didn't know that. I didn't know she went through that for that role. That's like new news to me. Like Jamil said, like when you start off acting here in Florida, this is like the independent capital of the world. So it's like my whole first year of acting, like none of the gigs I did were paid. You know, so like to me, I think it comes down to where you are in your career, and is that next film, no matter what the pay is and stuff like that, is it going to get you that much closer to that next level? So I think you as an artist, wherever you are in your career, you have to make a decision that's right for you. Now, I will say for the Taraji, I can't remember if she won it, but she actually got an Oscar nomination for that, and that opened up her whole career.
That is
like
true.
on a whole nother level. She got an Oscar nomination for that for that role as supporting. I can't remember if she won it, but I know she got the nomination. And when you get a nomination, your asking number can go up now. So I'll say it paid off for her. It paid off big for her in the long run when you look at it. So I think it was worth it, you know. Getting back to the question that you asked, Ty, about the typecast, I pride myself in taking on different roles. You know, when I first started acting, people were trying to get me with the GQ, you know, like sexy type dude look, and
Right.
you know, anybody can do that. You know, like anybody off the street just starting off acting, you could do that because it's just you being, you know, you just having a little bit swag to you. So it was really no challenge there. Like I had to start, I guess, looking for roles. I started turning down roles. You know, I'm very selective in this stage of my career. So when I do something, it's all about, you know, does it challenge me as a character? Is this a story that I'm familiar with, that I want to tell? Something that's going to challenge me, because every time you challenge yourself, you grow. That's the
Right.
whole point of it. If you keep playing the same roles, you know, I feel like your growth can kind of be stunted there, or you just kind of plateau at that level. But I will
Right.
say, at that, once you get to that next level, being typecast is not necessarily a bad thing, you know, depending on where you are in your career, because you see certain dudes, they play in these mobster movies, they play the same role every time, but it's like they're still working, you know.
Right.
So if it's a matter of that or not working, I would say it's not necessarily a bad thing. Just know you're not trying to stay there. But I see certain people, they play the same types of roles and they've had a very, very successful career and they love playing those types of roles. So it just really all depends on what you want. But I'm like Jamil, I challenge myself, and you know, I like to play different stuff that's going to be challenging.
Well, just to switch gears real quick, I know I told the audience that I had my brother come in. He was actually on set, so you know how things can be when you're on set trying to make things work. Charles, if you can introduce what you're doing, and because and just to put it out there, he has done acting. Yes, I ain't gonna brag, but he
Brag.
Marvel, Netflix. Okay. But besides that, though, he does everything else. But can you just tell us a little bit about what you do and what you're doing now and those things?
Hey, yeah. So I am actually so I'm Charles. I'm actually a SAG-AFTRA stunt performer. I've been on Marvel Defenders. I've been on Jessica Jones. I've been on Punisher. I've been on Luke Cage, and as well as Daredevil. So currently, right now, I'm actually on set with my own film project, and you can hear a lot of the stuff in the background. Called Leatherman. It's a sci-fi horror short film that's based upon a steampunk Lovecraft mythos, dealing with a extra dimensional warrior who comes to our world to stop. She's chasing after a supernatural evil, trying to stop it from spreading in our world. And so we're actually on day 5 of a 8-day film shoot. And everything's going great so far. Whatever, we have a great cast, we got a great crew. We've been pretty much going nonstop since we started. And the idea, whatever, is to wrap up this thing within the next 3 to 4 days. But as far as career-wise, stunts works very, very differently than the actual than actors do, whatever. Whereas actors have, they have agents, they have managers. Stunts, we don't have any of those. We do not get casting calls unless we're submitted by the actual stunt coordinator. So how a stunt performer, how we get actually hired is we have what's known as our stunt reel, or we go to what's called a stunt hustle. A stunt hustle is when you go and you actually meet up with the actual stunt coordinator, you introduce yourself. You basically got 1 minute to spit what you can do and introduce yourself, whatever. And before your time is essentially up. So with the stunt hustle, and then also you can submit your actual stunt reel, which will be a highlight of everything that you've done, whether it's an actual your film or television material, or it's just training. Some people will combine the two together. So that being said, whatever. So when I submit my stunt reel for work, and my stunt reel shows my driving scene from The Blacklist. It shows me punching Punisher in the face. It shows my gun battle in Gotham. I put these little snippets together, whatever, and then we want to keep that reel at about 1 minute. At the end of the reel, you're going to have your contact information, your email, so forth and so on, and that's it. There's no casting for us, whatever, unless it's a stunt acting role. and we have a stunt acting role, then we will go ahead and we may have to cast if we actually have lines. But for the most part, we're hired directly by the stunt coordinator for that specific role, and that's how that's how basically the whole hiring process for a stunt performer.
So just to ask a quick question, and I know you might be in and out in these different things. I wanted to say, so of course, your counterpart, you know, there's so many white men action, you know, heroes in the industry, and there's so many, you know, Sylvester Stallones and all that, you know, you could name them. But for our African American men, you know, how many stunt guys are out there? I know, and you didn't say that it was Common. You didn't say that he was Common's stunt double.
Yeah, I double Common as well. Yes.
Yeah, I was very, very happy to see that. But no, I mean, how many? I don't know how many stunt men are there that are African American.
Well, there's a great deal of us. It's just so. For instance, one of the more respected, well-known African American stunt performers is Aaron Toney. Aaron Toney actually was in Equalizer. He was in he doubled the Falcon in all the Avenger movies.
Oh wow.
Yes. I can't recall his name right now, but the guy who actually doubles the Mandalorian for the fight scene. So the Mandalorian, Mando has actually 3 stunt doubles. He has a stunt double for the fighting. He has a stunt double for the action gun scenes, and then he has a stunt double for any of the rolling physical maneuvers.
Oh wow!
The stunt double who for the actual fighting scenes is actual Afro-Brazilian. You may have seen him in Anbach.
That's my movie.
He's a capoeira artist. He's a capoeira artist. No, I'm sorry. No, not Anbach. I forgot. No, it's called The Defender. Sorry, The Defender. With Tony Jaa, and he's a capoeira artist. Very famous. I can't recall his name right now, so I apologize for that very much. Whatever. Another great stunt performer is Alima Dorsey. She represents the African American women in the scene. Whatever. Alima is sitting at about over 100 stunt credits. She's been in Matrix. She's been in Star Trek. She's been in right now. She's working on Titans, doubling Blackfire. She's been in Ghostbusters. Oh, wow. Yeah, she's done so much. Whatever. And actually, she's actually my mentor in the actual business. So there is a great deal of us. The problem with African American stunt performers is on the coordinating side. So on the coordinating side, the coordinator is essentially like, think of it as like the director for the stunt performers. This is the guy who comes up with, or he helps orchestrate the fight choreography, as well as taking care of the safety issues regarding a particular stunt. That stunt coordinator, unfortunately, there aren't a lot of African American stunt coordinators, and that dynamic is beginning to change to a certain degree, but it's not nearly where it needs to be. Whatever I've seen stunt coordinators who.
Oh no, we lost
Troy dumped the basketball.
I'm still here. My tripod is just messing up, so I'm going to move to another location.
Okay.
I'll be right with you guys.
It's okay.
I thought you kicked it because LeBron just dunked. I thought
You
kicked
still
it.
got it. It's been a hot mess in here, Charles. Just so thank you for coming and bringing order.
Yeah, everybody's doing their own thing, but no. At the end of the day, I wanted to ask, and if Troy, you can hear me, Jamil, Charles, is it hard to break into the industry? A lot of times you have the young kids and they're like, oh, I want to be an actress, I want to be an actor, and they don't, of course, may not even think about being a director or a stunt double or these things, but just in general, is it hard to kind of get your feet wet? Like, I'm packing my bags now, I'm moving to California.
It is really hard to just pick up and go. That's just one of the things that, you know, you don't really know anybody out there, and just to go out there and just to see how that works, that's a whole different animal. And especially if you're not on the actor side, if you're not SAG, you don't want to do that. That's just something you just don't want to do. If you're not a SAG eligible, you can make it, but that number is very small of people who actually do that and do make it. It's almost like a person going into the NBA or NFL. The number is very small that actually do it. But can it be done? I will say, yeah, anything is possible. But again, that number is small. And I'm not sure on Charles' side, you know, how hard is it to break in on that side? Because, you know, what you just mentioned tonight, it was just enlightening for me to hear from your side. That's just amazing that I didn't even know that you guys didn't have any casting directors. You're pretty much out there making it happen yourself, knocking on doors to see what projects are out there and just trying to make it. That's got to be even more challenging.
Yeah, on the stunt side, I will tell you this, whatever, it is difficult to get on the actual stunt side. First, there are an entire slew of skills that you have to know before you even dare say that you are an actual stunt performer. You have to know how to do reactions. You have to know how to do falls. You have to know how to have basic fight choreography. You got to know how to basic driving skills. Not even talking about stunt driving skills. Okay, if you really want to get hired, you need to go to one of the 3 big stunt driving schools. Either you got to go to Drivers East, Bobby Orr out of Atlanta, or you have to go to Rick Siemens out in California. You have to know how to have basic firearm handling skills. Okay, we're not even talking about on the tactical level where you can play like a special forces operator, commando, John Wick type guy. Just being able to basically hold the firearm and know basic firearm safety. So you have this entire slew of skills that you have to know before you can even get your first job. Now, yes, do some people get in? You know, yeah, everyone gets in the stunt side a very different way. Me, I started off as a production assistant working for the stunt department. They were doing a mass hire. We didn't have enough people because we were shooting Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and Luke Cage all around the same time, plus Defenders, plus Punisher was going on, plus Gotham was going on. All these shows were all filming around the same time. This is about 4 years ago. And they're like, hey, Charles, what do you do? What did you do in the military? I said, oh, I was in the infantry. Oh, what? Yeah, we need someone who knows how to, how to handle fire. Yeah, we're putting you in the show, whatever, okay? That's how I got my in. Everyone's in is fundamentally different. Someone else just happened to know somebody who knew Quentin Tarantino, whatever. Quentin Tarantino say, sure, put him in, whatever, okay? Some people apprentice in. Some people will go to the various stunt schools, and I always say be leery of a stunt school because there is no stunt school that can ever get you work. Okay, there are some places where that people are known to provide quality training, but it does not mean you're going to be a quality performer. That's the difference. Okay, so it is difficult. Whatever, you have to put in a lot of work. I know people who've been working at it for 2 or 3 years and still haven't even got their first job yet. So I would say it's even more difficult than even on the actor side. I will say this though, to get into SAG is not as difficult as a lot of people think. All you need is 3 vouchers. You get those 3 vouchers by working as a background actor. They don't come very, very often, but if you put in the work within a year or within 1 to 3 years, you should be able to accumulate the 3 vouchers that you need to be able to qualify for SAG. Now, coming up with the SAG membership money, that's a different issue altogether. Okay, and there's and people will tell you right there, whatever, when it comes to coming up with that money, whatever, it's not always the easiest, especially if you are in fact an actual background worker.
Does the amount change based upon what you're trying to do?
You just explain what for folks that don't know what is SAG, because it's being thrown around, but some people may not know what SAG is.
So I actually sit on the SAG, one of the SAG committees up here in New York. So I'll go into this real quick, and then after that, I got to run because we're about to start filming pretty soon.
We got you.
Basically, what it is it's known as Screen Actors Guild. The Screen Actors Guild is SAG, and AFTRA was the television side. So SAG covered theater, AFTRA covered television. They merged about 5 years ago. And that merger, they're now known as one collective union known as SAG-AFTRA. It covers three major components. It covers film, it covers television, and it covers what's called new media. New media is all your streaming services like Netflix, Apple Plus, the Googles, all that type of stuff, whatever. Right. Disney Plus, whatever. Okay. There are different contracts. There's a new media contract, and how you get paid is based upon that contract structure. There's a television structure. There's a theater structure for how you get paid. And that in itself is like 3 podcasts worth of information. We don't have time for that. Essentially, SAG-AFTRA is the union that you will have to join in order for you to be able to get any credible work. There are non-union work, so like your reality television, like your Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of New York, Real Housewives of New Jersey. That's all non-union work. The pay for those type of jobs are extremely low, as compared to what a principal actor would work. So anyone who speaks on film or television or new media is considered to be a principal actor. Stunts, we are principal as well. Everyone else, then there's featured background, and then there's background. Those are essentially the tiers that you can belong to, whatever. Okay, and the pay for principal, and then it goes down after that.
Just before you leave, I just wanted to ask, what is that price? Those union, like to get in, that everybody was laughing at. What is that price?
So in New York, so that price right now is
$3,000 in order for you to join.
So here in Florida, since we're close to Miami SAG, it's only $1,900 for us.
Mm-hmm.
But
right,
you have
but that's the local fee. That's the local fee. If he
correct, that's
if he
correct.
Was trying to branch out of that area, and let's say he got work repeatedly in the New York area, he would have to pay the remaining balance of that.
That's correct.
So
is California different?
Fees.
Yes.
No, California is the same as New York.
Okay.
I would really say
California, New York, Atlanta are all the same.
And Charles, didn't you work on one of the Housewives, the shows as well?
Yes. I was the guy who drove Teresa Giudice when she got out from prison. I was the driver.
Wow.
Yeah. So I picked her up from prison, and then I helped her with the escape from the media.
Hey, wait. So did Joe
Giudice right after? My sister calls me like right as we get to her mansion. She goes, "Listen, I'm watching you on the news right now." Whenever he just hopped out the car, I said, "Yeah, that's me." Yeah.
What was you gonna ask, Troy?
All the way from.
I said, "Did Joe Giudice? Did he really get deported back to Italy? Did Joe Giudice?"
Yeah, the guy was nasty. The things I can tell you about that family.
Oh, I remember.
Sorry, you know what I'm saying?
He's gonna go off. Don't get him started. Look at his face.
I like Joe Giudice, man. Joe Giudice is that dude.
No, he's a bad guy. No. But no, thank you so much, Charles. I know you got to
take care. Nice
meeting
you guys.
Thanks, Charles. Nice to meet you too,
man.
man.
Nice meeting you, man.
Have a great time, man.
No, very happy.
Guys, again, if you have not been to the YouTube channel, please go to YouTube, subscribe, like, and share. And if you have Facebook, please go to Mothers Unfiltered Facebook group. Hit the invite button. We'll bring you in. We'll post the older videos. And we thank all newcomers that are watching and our oldies but goodies. Okay.
And I'm going to throw also in there, once again, it's live, so anything can happen. If a little birdie just flew past one of us, like literally a bird just flew past one of us, don't be surprised, audience. Anything happens when it's live. So I just want to put that out there.
Well, Troy, are you better? Do we have it together?
I am good now.
I think his setup is really good now.
I am good now.
He said they turn off the TV, but okay. So I do have a question. because we know that Charles is directing his own short film. Again, that's what he's doing now. But do you guys see a lot of African American directors in that industry, seasoned and or like independent?
I actually have. I've worked with a lot of Black directors, especially here in Florida. Some of the top directors in Florida are Black. You know, like the ones that are getting like distribution deals for their films, that are getting investors to invest in their films.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's some pretty legitimate filmmakers right here in Florida. And then obviously, you know, you have Tyler Perry up in Atlanta. He's kind of like, that's like the Hollywood of the East now, you know. So even like a lot of the big budgeted films now, big blockbuster films, are filmed in Atlanta. So like a lot of times they cast out of LA. A lot of the actors come from LA, but everything is being done in Atlanta. So all right, real quick, just getting back to that question you were saying, is it hard to get into the industry now for new actors? And, you know, would you recommend moving out to LA? It's like, it's really, you don't really have to anymore. Old school, geez, they had to. That was where you had to go get work. Now everything, when we send in, like me and Jamil, we get like an audition request. It's a self-tape. You know, Tripod, we go to a taping service, get someone to record it. It's a self-tape, and then you send it to them, and they're booking off the tapes now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they may have you do a call back where you do like another one, you know, but they're doing everything, and especially now that COVID has happened, like life after COVID, like nobody's really going to be doing in-person auditions. So, I mean, yeah, I don't really think you have to move out there now. Everything's right here in Atlanta.
Are you going to ask about that, Kia? Like life after COVID?
Well, what I was, you know, I got all types but what I was going to ask is, so I know when I first got out the military, I was like, oh, you know, my passion is entertainment. And I was like, you know, I love helping people, but I still, you know, love the entertainment field. So I got my film degree. And when I got my film degree, at that time, my older ones were much, much little. And I remember I had a position in the entertainment department at Universal. I was a supervisor, and I had to work from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning. And it was crazy. But if you can imagine having little kids having that schedule, they never seen mommy. And I just realized at that time, like, you know, maybe this is not for me. And I changed, I got another major, you know, in communications. So I want to ask you guys, dealing with a family, dealing with the wife or the girlfriend, or you don't spend enough time with me, or those type of scenarios, how does that affect you, or has it ever affected you where you're trying to juggle it? You know, because it's different when you have those millions and you can call, you know, the nanny in and they're right there on set with you in the trailer, compared to, you know, you guys now.
Troy, I'll let you go first.
Hey, see, Jamil, his kids are like grown, man. Hey, congratulations on becoming a grandfather too. I saw that, man. Beautiful grandbaby, man.
Thank
That's what's up. You too young to be a grandfather, but that's what's up, man.
Man, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
So with that, I guess, you know, again, like at the level that I'm at in my career right now, like I haven't experienced anything like that where I have to be away for like months at a time.
Okay.
You know, like when you get to that level, I mean, that's one of those things, you kind of cross that bridge when you get there. But at the same time, like my wife and I, we're kind of unified. You know, my wife, she believes in the dream. You know, she believes that I'm going to get to that next level. So she supports me. She's my biggest cheerleader. So we know that that's a part of it, you know, getting to that level. It's like you get on like one of those Marvel movies or something, or one of those films where you got to film like overseas. You may be over there for like 2-3 months, you know. So obviously we haven't had to deal with that a lot. I know my wife, she's a military brat. So my wife, like her dad was military, so she's been through that before, you know, where dad gets like, you know, a TDY or, you know what I'm saying, deployment and stuff like that, you know, and then always constantly moving. So I think that helps a lot in the preparation. But again, like I said, at this point, I haven't had to, I mean, maybe a couple of days is the most I've ever been away from them, maybe like a couple of days. And I was just up in Tennessee actually filming. And you guys stay tuned for that. That'll be my first official TV appearance. So that's going to be coming on TV. I'll keep you guys posted.
Yes, please do, man.
What is it?
Yeah. This is so this is the show Fatal Attraction. They actually do like the murder reenactments and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had the lead role, so it's going to be coming on TV One. So
it'd be some crazy black people cutting all the way up.
It'd be crazy. Listen. As an actor, we can't judge our characters. You know, you can't judge your character. So it's like
for them, right?
But when you see these situations, you're just like, dang, this is off the chain. Like what you're saying, like some of these situations are off the chain. So you have to like really get into that frame of mind, you know, and just live it.
Okay.
You have to live it.
I love that.
A little bit of quick, you know, knowledge from talking to Charles, but method acting. Like, do you guys have you done that? Do you do that?
Me, yes. I work with my instructor right now. She works with me one-on-one, and she works on method acting with me, and it's amazing. There's a lot of different skills that you can use, and as an actor, you can start to see all these different wins. And I'll kind of give you an example. We worked on sense memory together, and at that moment with sense memory, it was more of a memory. She'll have you kind of close your eyes. You'll think about something, and then you'll open your eyes and you'll look at something, and then you'll talk directly to that. And she'll give you different things. And she says, I want to give you happy. So, and then you have to think about a color as well. So my happiest moment, I'll go back and share that with you guys, was people think that happy is just like, ha ha ha, I'm so happy, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. And I didn't realize what happy really meant until it actually happened to me. So when you get into this moment, my moment was, it was a bright sunny day after graduation from boot camp from Parris Island and MCRD in the Marine Corps in 1993. And 3 months of work of becoming a Marine was the hardest thing I had done at that time in my life at 20 years old. And I can remember it was family day and the sun was so bright, so the color was yellow. And I could see my mother, my grandmother, my brother, and my sister, they're walking across the parade deck towards me. And when she said, go, I guess I had never felt that emotion. And for me, it wasn't like happy to see them. I just started crying and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. And she's like, oh my God, you get it. You're there. This is what an actor, this is what it's about being. She's like, what made you cry? I guess I had never channeled that and understood what that happy really meant. So that's what method acting is all about. So I couldn't stop crying. And then she had to make me kind of get out of it because we get stuck in it. We get stuck in that moment. Right. And then when we get stuck in that moment, and I think this is what happened to Heath Ledger, he got stuck into the moment of being a Joker and it took his life. So we get in these moments, we're recreating something that's really an emotional state that we're in. We're actually there. And that's what method acting is about. That was my story.
In the moment. Yeah, oh, go ahead, Ty. You were about to ask something.
No, I'm just my mouth always, just stays up.
Now, don't be disclosing that on air.
It's not that way.
Well, I'm always. You see your mouth. Me and him are like, what? You say your mouth.
I didn't mean it that way.
Like,
yeah, but I'm method. I'm method all the way. I'm method actor all the way, man. Like I really enjoy the process because with me, like I'm not just a character on set. So while I leave set, the moment I get that script, like I become that character. So like my everyday, like I go to the grocery store, I'm that character. I go to the gym, I'm that character. I go home, I'm that character. I never like to. So you really become it. Like that's helped me a lot when I get on set. Because then I don't have to go through that process of getting ready when I get there. You know what I'm saying? Like I've already been training myself, like my mind, I've been over and over, like just because when you can think like the character, you internalize it. It's a beautiful thing. It's like an out of body experience. I can't explain it. It's like one of the greatest things you can go through in life because it's like Troy completely leaves. I become that character. I'll give you guys an example. Like I played a drug kingpin, which to date is probably like one of my most. I had to put it this way, like Jamil said, like it was hard to come out of it. It was hard to come out of it. So you have to learn your limits. You have to learn that, because I'm telling you, it's dangerous if you get stuck like that. I've never dealt drugs. I've never done drugs, stuff like that. So me playing a drug kingpin, it's a lot of pressure, because now I have to be believable. Like I have to be believable in it. So I really had to learn that stuff. I really learned it, and I internalized it with everything I did. And when I realized that I had gone past my limit was one day when I'm in the gym, I'll be listening to like DMX, stuff like that, gangster music. Everything is gangster. Everything is gangster. Everything is gangster. So when I was at the gym one day, it was like 3 or 4 dudes. They were holding down like 4 different machines. They were kind of alternating between them and stuff. I got in there early in the morning. That's not my style. I'm like, listen, normally I'd be like, hey, can I work in with you? I was in this frame, but I'm a boss. I got these goons by my side. I got these goons because on set I always had my goons. She's too big dude.
Right.
Too big dude. So like in my frame of mind, I'm always feeling like they're with me. So when I go there, and then like I just jumped in on one dude's machine, right? I jumped in on one dude's machine. I had my music going. I didn't even ask. This dude grabbed my shoulder. He grabbed my shoulder. I just turned around and said, "What the?" It was almost that quick. I almost ended it for him.
Wait, you ain't looked for your goons?
I felt like they were already there. But so here's the danger of that. I could have ended up getting jumped. It was like 4 of them. Right. It was 4 of them. I didn't even realize it. So not only that, I could have gotten jumped, but also I could have went to jail. I would have beat these dudes up, because I was like in that frame of mind. So I got so deep into that role. It became like an addiction to having money, power, and respect. Wow. Like, if you ever had those things like all together, and like it's a very it takes some getting used to, but it's like you don't want to leave it.
It's interesting. I was going to say thing that you said that, because you just mentioned you got this new, you're going to be appearing in this series. But it's funny because I've heard of many actors say they do method acting, and I think method acting, in my opinion, is phenomenal, because you get in that true essence of that character. But the detriment to that, like you said, you're playing this drug pin. What happens if you're paying that psycho crazy boyfriend killer or whatever, or the person with the, these issues, and to be able to snap out of that can be, like you said, Keith Ledger, that can be detrimental to one's play, because a lot of times, especially if you are taking drugs or you're drinking or just whatever, that is very scary. What I did want to ask you guys, because I know we're going to start wrapping it up soon, is that in 2016, a hashtag that was trending was Oscars are so white, because when they bring out their nominations and everything, there wasn't any, big time things happening for us as a culture. And since that was trending, a lot of people jumped on. They said, yeah, we got to do our own thing. We got to, we don't want to sit at the table. We want to be the head at the table. And then you mentioned Tyler Perry, and Tyler Perry net worth currently is $1 billion. So, he has the head at the table. He got the table. They said they want to make a airport at his play, where he, his studio at. So it's that big. I wanted to ask you if you guys ever got to be, that big in an environment where everyone knows your name. Would it matter to you if you got nominated, at one of those type of shows, or you're just like, what, I'm just doing my thing, For
me, I'll take that one first, Jamil. For me, I guess I've never needed awards or anything to define my work. Like me, at the end of the day, like I just care how good the work is, and like it's one of those things where like you could be like, for instance, like LeBron James, right? Like he really should have got MVP this year. Everybody knows it, even though Giannis got it, the Greek Freak. But everyone knows LeBron should have gotten it. So even though he didn't get it, people know he really got it. So that's from his body of work. That's like the best example I can give. So I've never needed an award to define me. You know what I'm saying? Just give me the bag. I'll just secure the bag. I don't care about the awards.
Right. Yeah. So same here. I'm not a person that, big on rewards, or not even a person that brags on myself. That's one thing I don't do. You'll never see me post on Facebook what I'm about to do. I always post stuff that is already done. And the reason why it's already done, because it's already, the check is in the block. And it's not more or less for gratification to get my friends to say, oh, I like what you're doing. I like this. It's for me, right? To see what I'm capable of doing, to see where this can lead me to. And it's all about that hope to say, you know what? I tried it. If it leads to where it's supposed to lead, or God has that plan for me to get there, I'm all for that. But this is something I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. And the fears would stop us from getting to where we want to go. And I believe that when we take that fear out and just try, you can unlock in your imagination, and all these different things can be abundance to you because you tried. And a lot of people don't. So the awards is not really the ultimate goal, because if you do the work, like Troy was saying, if you're recognized for your work, the awards will come. That's easy. That's the easy way to say it. I never look at the fact of award, someone giving me something and saying, oh, you're great at that. That's just a piece of paper, a piece of wood, or a mantle to put on the wall. None of that stuff goes with you. What like, you know, Maya Angelou says is how you made them feel. Right? And that's kind of what we want to do as an artist, and be able to do our craft and be able to tap into something that we didn't even know is in us, because we get those glimmers of hope in us. And it's just amazing. But I think that we all get also infected with the virus of perfection. None of us are perfect. We can't be perfect in everything we do. But if we absolutely try to just let our work do its job and just be present in the moment, man, we can just do some great things. And that's just human beings as a whole.
I think my thing too, man, like I just want to leave the world some classics, man, like Coming to America, a movie that's like, you know, like you do the work and that movie just lives on to like the end of time, like Black Panther, you know, like that movie is just gonna live on. Like, I just want to make classics. So it takes a lot of work, and that's basically what I task myself with. That's the pressure we put ourselves under as actors, is to deliver something great that can live through the test of time. So that's what I'm all about. To me, that's legacy right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's nice.
I do want to share this one thing too before you go to the next question. Just remember this, guys. You know, I like to bring God into everything that I do, because he's the one that gets me to go to what I'm supposed to do. And I like to bring him into that. Y'all need to understand that God is the biggest storyteller of all time. He created us all. We're all unique. One person, who we are, all unique. So we're his actors playing our roles. He gives us permission to do what it is that we do. So we understand that in this universe, the universe will yield itself to you when you think positive.
Let me go ahead.
Amen.
I just want to go ahead and just touch the comments. Normally we go back and forth with the comments, but this time we just let it ride. And plus we was having some technical difficulties.
I got a new tripod, man.
So Cash Money says, what sort of scams have you guys seen where people are trying to take advantage of someone trying to get into the industry?
Great question.
Oh, the biggest one is these agencies. These agencies, man, like they'll try to say you have to pay to be a part of an agency. Real agencies, you don't have to pay any membership fee to become part. So if you see an agency that say they're trying to represent you and you need representation, if they say you have to pay, run. Because true agencies, they get paid when you get paid. That's why they have to book you work. That's the incentive. So they get, like, I think anywhere from 10, 15%. It could be up to 20, but they get paid from you getting paid from booking work. You don't have to pay to become to be represented by an agency. So if you see that, run.
I mean, because if with paying you out front, like you're the investment. So they're definitely going to pick very specific, kinds of people that they know that they can make money off of.
Right.
This is a business move.
Have you seen the same thing, Jamil, or something different?
Well, I can go back and say that, there's people that help me in the industry, and I, give a shout out to Diana Lavelle. She, I was, saw her in a commercial one night, and I said, hey, Diana, I've been looking to do this for quite some time. And I reached out to Troy before in the past, and, they gave some great advice on what to do. But you really don't understand what to do, because you're thinking like, I got to do it on my own. If you really want to do it, you have to do it. But I was going to try to go to, John Casablanca. I have a little cousin right now who's at Barbizon up in Pittsburgh, Eli Gumby. He's called me and they want him to pay $5,000 to come down here to Florida to Walt Disney World. And I'm like, no, don't do that. That's not how this works. But there's a lot of agencies out there that will take your money and tell you that, oh, we're going to submit you for these casting directors, or we're going to do this for you. I'm not saying that some people don't get it that way. But like Troy said, should be nothing you have to pay for to get representation to be able to work in this business. Only thing that you should be able to pay for is Actors Access, different platforms like that, where you can see the listings of what they're casting for, and then you have an opportunity to actually audition. That's it. And then it's from there, you should be able to get paid, not them asking you for money.
Right.
Right. And those are the two. So if anyone wants to know, like, those are the two main sites he brought up. Actors Access is the main one where you see all the major production castings. You can see it for yourself as an actor. You pay the membership. And then Casting Networks. Those are like the two that you see all the big casting. Those are all legitimate things. So you don't have to worry about, is it legit? You get your membership on there and then boom. But those are like for submitting for auditions though. That's not like for representation. That's for auditions specifically. Right.
So nothing like John Casablanca, Explore Talent, none of those. I don't recommend those. I'm not just, talking bad about those companies. I'm just saying I don't recommend those for people starting out.
Right.
Got it. And my last question for you guys is, where do you see, the industry going now? I mean, so many things have evolved from the time, we started as a people, entering the field of acting and directing and all the different ramifications that we touch. Our culture is so beautiful. And we touch the lives of everybody somehow, some way. And now it's 2020, and this is an unpredictable year, and it's been tragic and beautiful in both ways. But with that being said, moving forward to 2021 and down the line, where do you guys see yourselves? Where do you guys see the industry moving forward?
You want to take that one first? You want me to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take that, Troy. Basically, I see the industry moving forward with like people like Troy himself creating his own company and pulling together some of the talented people around her. Like we said, we don't mind working for free because we also believe in the idea and the dream of create your own content and get it out there. Because if we all band together and create our own and make something work, who cares about getting paid now? Let's think about later on. Because when it later on comes, now we started together, and then, oh my goodness, look what we have created.
I know where your head is at.
You understand? Because once we're able to create that and put that out there, we need to work for free sometimes because we need to know where we don't want to be at to know where we want to go. But if we work together and pull the right people together and get the right people on the bus, like Jim Collins says in the book called Good to Great, if you get those right people on the bus, I'm telling you, you can create something masterful because there's a lot of people
Who does that
do some
sound
great
like?
things. And it's not about the pay right now. Create it first.
Yeah.
Put it out there. Let it grow. And then we continue to do other things. And then payment's going to come. Sow your seeds now and reap them later.
Yes.
What about that?
I know that's good stuff. He's absolutely right. I definitely see it going that way as well. Since he covered that, I'll cover the other side of things where I see it going. With everything that's been happening with the the social injustices and systematic racism, things like that, we're starting to see like a bit of a curve where they're putting more attention on getting more Black representation in those positions, like directors and writers. And so I think a lot more opportunities are going to come up. So what I would say to and myself included, all the actors out there, man, like now is the time to be working on your craft, man. Like really work on it. Don't become one of those people that think because you have a big social media following that's going to get you in there and that's going to say that may get you a role. But when they see that you don't have the talent, you're not going to stay there. And that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So you want to make sure when you get that opportunity that you can stay there. So I would say work on your craft. I can see a lot more shows coming out. I think there's going to be a lot more content for Black actors. I just think there's going to be a lot more shows coming out, especially with what Tyler Perry is doing. So I think a lot of people are starting to go towards seeing new faces as well. You know, so I think some of us people like here in Florida and things like that, people who haven't been on like a big show or anything, I think some of those opportunities are going to open up. Like I actually got an audition for the Oval, Tyler Perry show, the Oval, and it was actually like a series. It was a series regular role. It was a series regular role, one of the Secret Service guys. But the thing was, it was like I was a new face. They knew I hadn't been around there, but that's what I'm saying. Like stuff like that starts to happen. You know, like if you have your stuff, you have your headshots on point, you have good demo reel footage, and that was through Actors Access. They contacted me through there. So I see a lot more opportunities coming. So I just say be ready and just continuously work on the craft, because I think a lot more opportunities are going to come for actors, writers, directors, and they want to tell a lot more of our stories. Because the world is now starting to get it. We're like now on a global level of all these issues that are going on in this country. You know, before it was like it never really it never left the country. Now you got other countries that are seeing what's going on. So it's like now I think there's more awareness that's being brought to it. Mm-hmm. So I think for Black people, man, I think the opportunities are going to be like, I don't know, unlimited. I think there's a lot.
It's funny that you said that, because literally, and I don't know if you guys have done it or seen it on Netflix, they actually have a area where you hit, and it's for Black Lives Matter, you know, so it's all type of Black team. And then just like the streaming service for BET, you know, so definitely, I totally agree. We're going to see more and more new actors, new platforms, theater, podcasts. Just all different types of things out there where we're putting ourselves out there and just giving back to our communities. And I just want to say
it's about time. It's about time. I mean, this shows that we have grown. You know, I know that a lot of people talk about how, you know, we're separated even internally, but this really does show how we've grown together, and we become stronger, and we have been able to really voice who we are and make people listen instead of asking them to be able to create these platforms. We're doing it on our own. So I want to say thank you, Kia, for this platform that we, you know, that we're on right now. And
Absolutely.
Kangs, gentlemen, thank you so much for everything you guys have done. All of your experiences, like you guys are role models. Models. There's going to be a lot of people listening to this, and they're going to want to know how to get to where you're at. You've made a lot of accomplishments. So I want to say thank you and continue to do the great work you do.
And the last thing I want to leave with is just to say it's interesting that you know, when I introduced you, I mentioned your age, and just to put it out there, that age is nothing but
have technical difficulties, just to let you know. So
okay, let me just be real quick. You know, age is nothing but a number, but if you have a dream, pursue it and don't give up on it. And if you actually just sit around doing nothing, then you'll never know what you could have accomplished. So thank you once again, Troy and Jamil, for coming out and blessing this show.
Your team wins.
Yeah.
we will.
I'm a Lakers fan, but I guess.
And thank you to all the listeners that tuned in and will be tuning in later. We appreciate you. If you like what we do, please share, like, subscribe, go to YouTube, our Facebook page, and just, you know, help us grow. Let us know what you want, new topics.
And make sure you look out for Troy on his Fatal Attraction show.
Yes, and then
I'll be posting it. Don't worry, y'all will know. It's either coming out at the end of this month or somewhere around Thanksgiving.
And
so I'll let y'all know.
I got one coming out December 1st on BET. It's going to be The Business of Christmas. Yes.
And
can't wait.
No, when y'all get big, don't forget about me.
You know we ain't gonna let you forget about me. Your birthday same day as mine. Yes. So you gonna be around
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey, God bless.
Thank you.